Team USA, unfortunately, for the men's side, was DQ'd in world relays. They changed in exchange zones. So when they were handing it, I think it was handing off to champion Allison, I believe, who I think was he the third leg? I can't remember.
Third
leg. So handing off to him. He moved positions within there and not allowed to do that. Got DQ'd. I know you said you had a few things you want to go on with this, but what are your thoughts on that DQ? Like in high school, I think, and all that, like you do this on almost any other place, it doesn't matter. You can just move. Like I remember in high school, people just completely shifting until the last second. What's your thoughts on this disqualification? Because like they won pretty handily at the end of the year.
Yeah. I mean, the disqualification is what it is. I think that it is the rule. I want to vouch for my guys. I know all of these guys, so I want to vouch for them. But when you start getting on that collegiate upper echelon collegiate circuit and any professional 4x4, those officials are very strict. When the guys get to the 200-meter mark, when the second leg gets to the 200-meter mark, or whoever it is, whoever has the lead, 9 times out of 10, they're not going to allow you to shift around. Whether you've been through it or you haven't been through it. I've been on a lot of relays where, my guys is in fourth, and then all of a sudden some changes happen and they're moving around and I want to move too because, like my guys in front. But the official gets really, really stiff about that. I remember that happened in Trinidad last year at Worlds, either last year or 2 years ago at Worlds. But it's like a learning lesson. I saw Champy said, I didn't know. And, that's fair. I'll give it to him. He didn't know. But it's just a little bit of a letdown because those guys definitely would be in medal contention. They get to run still, which is good. They hit the qualifying time for Olympics, so they'll be there. But it's just a little disappointing that they can't get the medal and get the prize money and stuff like that and have those accomplishments under their belts as that quartet there. But, it's not like a huge deal. I just wish I wish it didn't happen.
Mm-hmm. And so this is something like I don't know as much about world relays. I'm trying to, become a little better well-versed. So let's just say, for example, if instead of them, getting DQ'd and not running the time and still running the time, but with the exchange, let's say they drop the baton, or let's say Team USA, or whatever, drops a baton at world relays and they don't hit the mark. Is that like then USA is just not in the Olympic final? Like that's the only time that they get it? Like,
that's a good question. I'm not 100% positive, so I don't want to completely speak on it, but I believe that if you hit a certain standard or run in the top X ranking in the world, maybe so even after this weekend, they still would have an opportunity to be in Paris, but I'm not 100% sure, so I don't take my word on that all the way. You know?
Yeah, I feel like that's got to be the case because I could just imagine if the Jamaican women or the USA men, imagine they get DQ'd in this thing and then you don't get in the Olympics. That would be there's got to be, I feel because that, but that's I don't know too much. I'm not in the world relays, but it's it's cool. Is that a rule that that's commonly known? I had no idea that you weren't allowed to shift in the exchange zones. Is that something that you all go through before the 4x4, or is it a less common rule that they have?
I think that I would say it's a less common rule, but like I said, I have personally experienced being on the track and looking at the 200 mark. The official gonna put you guys in your place. Pause. And you know what I'm saying? I'm like, but my man is in front of him. And I've actually had officials that say, okay, you could go ahead in front. And I've also had officials say, nah, you got to stay there. That's where they was at the 200-meter mark. So it's almost like a subjective, officials not knowing what's going on. But I think that the official rule is where they are at the 200-meter mark. That's where this lineup has to remain. So.
Yeah, that's what it was. If you saw, because earlier in the mixed 4x4 with Team Ireland, they were in last when they were handing it off to Adelke, and then they gave it to Rashida Adelke, got the baton in dead last, and then got them all the way up to first. and she had to pass the baton off to the person all the way in last. So she's in lane 1, goes all the way out to like lane 5, and then has to go all the way back because like she just hawked them all down in that last 200 meters. And so unfortunate. Like they said, it looked like Champ Allison took it like a champ. He understood what was going on. So yeah, Stington won't be able to get the prize money, but it's the learning lesson. So next time they're in that in the situation for Olympics or whatever it may be, it's not going to happen again.
Yeah. So, and by the way, I did not like that order at all that they ran, based on the type of runners that those guys are. Everybody that runs the 400 knows that Christopher Bailey's more of like a closing speed kind of guy, like a I'm gonna outkick you kind of guy, and not like a beat you to the break. In that second leg, they had Christopher Bailey on the second leg, and they had Ja'Cory Patterson as pop off. I probably would have switched that because Ja'Cory's known to run a really fast 200. I wasn't there. I'm not a coach, but just from viewing it, I already thought that was a mistake looking at the order. But you live and you learn with everything.